but that's okay. At least you can see some of it. All right. Pros and cons. If you're going to go in person, guys, please be sure and show up 45 minutes early. I know that sounds outrageous, but it's really needed. I showed up 20 minutes early and I was way late. Everybody else had already been there, already had book prep and books checked. I was way late. So 45 minutes. I've had people show up, be in the parking lot, and it said that the exam time started at 8 o'clock, and she was there at 7:50 something. Saw the proctor in the parking lot who told her she needed her whole exam take. So that's $399 again. So be sure and show up super early in person. Don't forget to print or write out your AAPC number, your membership ID number. You don't have to take a printed picture of it, but at least write down your membership ID number and take it with you. Super important. Results can take a long time to get back, up to 2 weeks. Wear a watch on your hand, one with minute hands on it. They won't let you have an Apple Watch or something like that, but one with a minute hand, and you need to check on it, because when you do one column of ABCs that you're going to answer, there's 25 questions to bubble in on your bubble sheet. When you get all the way done with one column, you need to check your watch. If you didn't do those 25 questions in 1 hour, if it took you 2 hours to do that 25 questions, then you're in trouble. So you need to check your watch, because they don't announce any time until you have like 5 minutes left, and then it's too late to do anything about your time. So as you can see from Sunday's workshop, we did 75 questions in 3 hours, and a lot of people were like, that was just too fast. We were going too fast. Well, that's how you're going to have to go on your own by yourself without me during your exam. So it's super fast. Time goes really, really fast. Most of your questions are part of the guidelines, and they could be hidden. You might think it's like an ICD-10 or an anesthesia question, but it's all guideline related. So some of them are hidden and you don't know that they're a guideline question, but those have the most questions. The rest, integumentary has 6 all the way through the medicine section. Anesthesia only has 4. If you failed the exam, this little piece chart is super helpful, because it can help you rationalize, where do I need to put my studying? If you only have compliance and regulatory that you failed in, there's only 3 questions there, but you also failed in all your guidelines. So you want to be sure and hit guidelines if you didn't do well in that, because there's 7 of those, more so than there are in like hit picks. There's only 3 questions in hit picks. You can get an extra hour for your exam. If you have a medical need, you can also get bigger font on your exam if you take your exam in person. If you have a visual need, or get headaches or something like that, you can always email AAPC at ada@aapc.com. Send them a copy of your glasses prescription from your doctor and ask them for bigger font. You have to make sure you do that at least like 4 weeks before you do your exam, because they don't send them to the printer till then. They get them printed for your exam about 3 weeks ahead of time. So if you want bigger font, you can get bigger font, which is kind of nice sometimes. The extra hour you can send in too. The problem with that one is, just because you got approved for your extra hour doesn't mean the exam that you scheduled, either online or in person, is going to accommodate that ADA. So when you do get your approval for an ADA, you need to verify with the proctor that's given the exam that you scheduled an ADA exam. It's not the same thing, and they don't automatically happen. I have some examples of what you can send to them from a diagnosis point of view if you want another extra hour, if you need frequent bathroom breaks. It's just a simple thing. They don't really technically need your diagnosis, which is protected, or other than just please accommodate this student for frequent breaks due to a medical need, and have somebody sign it and send that in. It's technically all they need. They can't ask for medical records, so just get that in if you think you're going to need it. Super helpful. You can also, before you take your exam, you can send AAPC an email to apprenticeremoval@aapc.com like I did. This is a copy of what I sent them right here. I submitted them a letter from my employer that said, simply put, I utilize CPT, ICD-10, and HIPICS in my daily duties, on letterhead with signature. Emailed that in. I also emailed, this right here is a copy of one of my college degree transcripts. I just sent that in too as the secondary PDF, and within like 7 days they sent me back and this email over here to the side that says I've been approved for the removal of the A. That way when I do schedule my CPC exam, I will have full status. I won't have the apprenticeship. So you can do that well in advance if you want to. Which is super helpful. Now those 7 questions that are the 7 guidelines, things that they might ask might be something you don't realize is a guideline question, like I said. Take this one, for example. When a physician performs a left ventricle catheter and it passes through the left ventricle, which heart valve are we going through? That may not be one. That may be a medical terminology one. Some of their guideline questions might be the 7th character, modifiers, adverse effects, excisions, benign lesions, what's included in that service. So your stitching, your post-op care, biopsies are included. Those kind of things right here is super important. Knowing whether you did it to yourself means that for an adverse effect, if you took too many mushrooms or you drank yourself into alcohol poisoning, a T code goes first. If a doctor wrote you a prescription for an antibiotic and you went into anaphylactic shock over it, a R code goes first. Those are guideline questions, and knowing that guideline is super helpful. Super, super helpful. To find those 7th characters for your ICD-10, you just need to know to go to the first 3 digits, like S82, and stop. Don't go all the way to the whatever 6th digit and think you're going to find your 7th character here. If you go here, you won't find them and you won't know where they're at, but they're at the first original 3 digits. That's super helpful to know for your guideline questions. For our mitral valve question, the part of the heart that you're going to go through is your aortic valve. We talked about these T codes and knowing which ones go first. knowing that your preventative medicine says that, so a patient comes in for their 1-year well child check. They also have a diaper rash. Is that a significant enough right there to indicate a new issue that we need to evaluate and require them to have like a regular established office visit with them? Because your wellness exam, for them to qualify for a wellness exam, equals no chief complaint, right? They're not supposed to have any issues. They're just supposed to be well. They're coming